How is that for you and for Shalom? How is it to work under the very closed military regime? How is it to work today? Where and what are the challenges in those two very different contexts?
The most challenging experience for us in the close period, I would say, was the security concern, because we always have to think, if we do this and what would the military would think, it was never open, and there was never clear-cut procedure. Another thing is access to the international community. Access in terms of funding access and also resource access to the international community was quite challenging because of the sanction imposed by the West, to the government. And now in the current situation, which is quite contrary to how it was 10, 20 years ago, now particularly on the peace process, and the door is open, as the President has announced in his speech. And because of this door is open, then as you rightly indicated, we have many newcomers coming to town. So we have jokes about our current situation. We have two popular business. One is car business and another one is peace business. So we have many new actors coming to Myanmar. So it is challenging by two ways. One is coordinating among the actors and the local community and not knowing exactly who is going to do what. So that is also challenging. And on the second challenge is we are, receiving newcomers, every day. This is also taking the time away from the work that we do.
And today we see a process that is nationally driven, with a few internationals helping, but it's really an effort that is conducted and led by the national. And how do you think those years of international advocacy, support, facilitation is still today impacting the situation, or do you think it was a total failure and that it has nothing to do with the present context?
No, I don't see it as a total failure, even though for the last 6 years the efforts made by the international community, particularly UN efforts, even though there was no substantial outcome, for the last 6 years, we should not say there's a failure. But I think that efforts had leads to where we are now. The pressure contributed by the international community also forced pressure for our government to think differently. By engaging the military regime is also get them to think, okay, in this globalized war, we cannot be isolated anymore. So we have to find ways to get the door open to the international community. So the world sees the problem of Myanmar as a democratic problems between NLD, Aung San Suu Kyi, and the military government. But we have been doing lobbying, including swisspeace, support that helped the current situation, because the world begin to see the other sides of the conflict, that ethnic armed conflict is essential conflict that to be addressed. That now when the door is open, international community are in the secondary level of the understanding of the conflict dynamics.
Could you maybe give us an example in the current peace processes, an example of what local organization can do that an international cannot do, and the other way around?
Ceasefire monitoring is one aspect that was never discussed before, but now ceasefire monitoring will be done based on the local organization. So it will be civilian-based ceasefire monitoring. So I think this is purely in our transition process that the involvement of international may not be possible, but the role of the involvement of the civilian local organizations to do the ceasefire monitoring is one concrete example that I could give. And on the examples of the international contribution to the current peace process is because we are so close in the past, and there were little human resources in terms of peace. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in this situation, since the peace process is moving so quick,
Mm-hmm.
and we have so much to address and so much to tackle, so in this situation, what international can do is bringing experience from other country
Mm-hmm.
and to the local context, and how we can also develop further to support the peace process.
How do you make sure that the peace processes that are happening now are not only the result of old men sitting at the table and deciding for their own community?
We are also focusing to make sure that all the voices from the public needs to get to the peace table.
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, one thing that we do is public consultation. So we help to facilitate the grassroots organization to facilitate to gather the concerns and grievances of the public. So after the public consultation, the local-based organization came up with concrete information, concrete messages, and recommendations to be channeled to the peace table through the armed groups. And also to the armed group leaders and also local authority.
Can you maybe give us a little state of play in the current peace processes? Do you have women sitting at the peace table? Do you have women around supporting the key negotiators? Basically, are women involved, or are they totally sidelined from the negotiations today?
That is another key area that we need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, currently there are 19 peace processes going on, and out of 19, 3 peace processes have included women as a negotiator. But unfortunately, there are no women involved in the government negotiation team. The first thing that we do, with swisspeace again this year, April, that we had introduced UNSCR 1325 to the women group. This is just very preliminary awareness seminar, just to get them think, okay, on the peace process, women also have a role to play. So we need to increase women participation, at the peace table, and also women concerned to be discussed at the peace table. And plus, we are lobbying to the decision maker on both sides to include women at the peace table. But at the same time, what we need to do is we also need to prepare women to be ready, when it comes, if they are invited to the peace table, they have to be ready.
What kind of barriers are there, especially for women, to enter a political role where they can make a difference in peace processes in Myanmar?
I would like to say from 2 perspectives. One is a culture perspective, particularly how men perceive women in the political arena. I want to give you one example. One of the former generals, after the negotiation meeting with one of the group, and he came forward and talked to a woman negotiator and saying, in our Buddhist culture, women are not playing a leadership role. So this is the perception that many men in our culture is still holding towards women. So on the second perspective is women themselves. Since the culture is so dominated by women or men, then women themselves also perceive themselves, oh, we don't have anything to do. We have nothing to do with politics. So this is also the main barrier to bring up more women into the political arena.
Do you think that will change in the coming years? That we will see more women having roles where they can influence decisions?
After the election, and also now, the country, the door is open, and there are more opportunity for women to discuss among themselves also, to be inspired among the women who are in the politics, So there are also organizations who are supporting women political leadership. So I think this kind of opportunity are are more opening for women who can be playing more role in the politics. So I think I would see that there are great potential, but I don't think overnight we may not change much, but it will be a gradual change. So we need to continue to support the women network to empower each other. Yeah.